This is Perspectives Worthy of Shaping. I am Elizabeth Ngishiri in Nairobi, and I welcome our viewers in Kenya and from across the globe. The program takes an exclusive look at evocative issues in economics, politics, education, and arts and culture. First, a look at the stories that made today's headlines. Facebook, the tech giant, is under fire after the social network was used to traffic a child bride in South Sudan. Facebook says the company took down the post immediately they learned of it, but that only came after the girl was already married off. A Facebook spokesman has since issued an apology and irate their policies and regulations for all its users. Moving on, Lion King in theaters summer 2019.
Everything the light touches is our kingdom. But a king's time as ruler rises and falls like the sun. One day, the sun will set on my time here.
After the success of Jungle Book and Beauty and the Beast remakes, Disney revealed that it was working on a live-action reimagining of The Lion King. The first Lion King movie, a global sensation, became the fourth highest grossing animation film of all time. The remake is set to come out in July 2019. Moving on, artists make Global Citizen Festival a success. The Global Citizen Festival was in full swing on the 2nd of December, where 80,000 music lovers from across the globe were in attendance. The initiative of the Global Festival are to increase awareness of the growing need for the attention to extreme hunger that pervades the continent of Africa, where many children have no access to food nor water and die every day due to these dire conditions. Moving on to our next segment, eradicating poverty through the power of global citizens. The lives in which many young African children grow up in are subject to poverty, shame, and reclusion from the building units that society thrives in. The reasons for this can be attributed to many things, but generally the feeling among many people around the world is something must be done. It goes without saying, top celebrities from across the globe in the name of Oprah, Beyonce and Jay-Z, Ed Sheeran, Usher, and Pharrell, among many other renowned global artists, in attendance created such necessary buzz in giving the world a cause and initiative to participate in. As to why the conversation is still looming without taking off here in Kenya, we would like to hear from you what you think should be done to inspire global initiatives such as Global Citizen Festival here in Kenya. Hit us up on Twitter at Lizzie_M and leave your comments on this topic. Let's have a look at the growing trends in the Kenyan music today in our special edition feature.
The decision to make music is rarely for the individual's own satisfaction. Musicians can sometimes feel the pressure to give into what is current, popular, and trending. Real craft is a process, the manipulation of sound and beat to create a feel beyond the ordinary senses. Are we inconsistent with our story as African songwriters and musicians? Do we understand the struggle of our people, the past, and how and when it placed the majority of land and heritage in the hands of foreigners? Can we understand that the need for truth, enlightenment, and repose can influence us to change how we find our things and how we live them for future generations? This is a conversation I had with an upcoming band of musicians who love to play blues, soul, and rock music. They believe that authenticity is vital, imperative for the future of good music here in Kenya.
So music for me, I've always noticed the little things about music, specifically like the individual parts in it. Growing up I was in orchestra, I guess in my school it was called band, and I always played all these upbeat things, but what really intrigued me was what's happening in the background, more generally the bass and the drums. So that's how I was drawn to playing the bass guitar, and that's where I draw my inspiration from.
comes around, let me drink it in the cold dark earth. Look great, get off my body down, crawl to her.
The other part that's inspiring about music is, for me, I'm a scientist at heart, so looking at these intricate things and how they mesh together just lets me appreciate it a little bit more. Like, there's a little bit of effort in every little corner of where you listen in music that one can appreciate. So that's also where I get my inspiration from.
Giving us their opinions on social media.
At Mwende Susu says, I find a lot of the conversations we have around art in Kenya, especially music, are elitist. When you interrogate what quality is, it usually means respectability, money, connections, etc. Some of y'all are big mad these kids are winning without having to go through you to do so.
Our correspondent Alan tells us what he learned from the field. Alan, could you give us some of the details of the Global Citizen event in South Africa?
Thank you so much, Liz, for joining us right here in our creative studios and building on our story tonight. The impact of 80,000 people in attendance at the 7.1 billion raised in charity can only be attributed to the impeccable stance on the part of the international and African artists.
Joining us today for this discussion are Mr. Morris Thige, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Cyrus Kamau, welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
And finally, Ms. Wangoi Kithu, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Ms. Wangoi Kithu, as an artist, can you tell us who we celebrate in Kenyan music that has influenced or impacted our music, and how can other Kenyan artists capitalize on this music and make it our own identity?
The music industry has really grown, and that's a good thing. I think the people we look up to are, of course, the guys on mainstream. Top of your mind as well, Sauti Sol. Could be Nyashinsky, who's come up really well trying to do collaborations with different people from different spectacles, even genres of music, which is cool. And I think how Kenyans can capitalize on this is through, let's say, just owning our culture. That's one thing Kenyans are lacking, especially in the music space. So we get so carried off by other people, other sounds, instead of owning our culture. And I like what people like Kansol, Major, Sauti Sol, those are guys who stuck to our culture, and we can relate. Any Kenyan, even in diaspora, can relate to them from wherever they are.
Mr. Kamau, can you tell us, are cryptocurrencies a way for artists to safeguard against theft of their original material? Can you explain?
Allow me to use an example. Maybe, I don't know whether I have a Kenyan example which I can use. Maybe I can use, let me use Ruth Wambui as an example. Ruth Wambui is a brand of her music. And the people who listen to her are online people who understand cryptocurrency. When he says my music is available at, let me give an example, at Viusasa, and you can access it using cryptocurrency of 0.01, you get the money back. So the key challenges that I have with artists is, one, do you have a brand? Because if you have a brand, you can sell it yourself and to yourself. Whether you sell it in Kenya shillings, whether you sell it in US dollars, whether you sell it in cryptocurrency, it will still sell. Two, platforms. Which platforms do you have to sell? Because if you're going to transact cryptocurrency online, you need a very secure portal that people cannot hack, people cannot change figures, people cannot change your music, people cannot access your money in that portal. So you need a very secure application and portal for that music. So do we have those kinds of investment already available? Chances are that they are still a challenge, but they can be done.
Tell us, in what ways can original Kenyan music be protected from exploitation of foreign interests and big media industries and houses?
I think intellectual property can be protected. The best way, first, people need to be educated. People need to know that this is their property, they own it, and they need to take a step towards protecting it. For example, buy your copyrights, do what you're supposed to do, pay up, follow up, also the Kenyan market as a whole should not entertain such, like us as a Kenyan, I see most people going to download stuff for free on flash discs, on CDs and stuff. Yeah, we buy this music at 100, but if you go for a concert and your presentable music is offered and you can buy it at 1,000, 1,500, you wouldn't, but you would do that for an international artist. And we need to be the ones to promote our own. Also, I think the government should take a big step on this, because arts have a lot of money. I mean, in different countries, they're a source of revenue for so many people, and not just music, but arts in general, And yeah, it should be a wholesome thing. As a Kenyans should come together to help protect intellectual property.
How can the Kenyan music industry attain more credible platforms to host events such as the Global Citizen Festival here in Kenya?
Kenyans are super creative. For example, if we look at what happened in South Africa with the Global Citizen event, that's something that could be hosted here. We just need to take one thing into consideration, which is time. I think we don't do good planning. I think when we plan in a rush, and of course we have other challenges, big challenges like corruption and theft, which is sort of part of corruption. So whenever there's a good cause, it's the people at the top who end up screwing us over, which can be changed, because if we are the leaders, if we are the ones vouching for this, we are the ones to cause a revolution. And if we do good planning, we have a good budget, I mean, we can get supporters and we can get to do these things. We can get to achieve all our goals, our SDGs and hunger, education, all that. But our problem is time keeping, and just planning, which involves time management, basically. Yeah.
Mr. Thige, I'd like to find out from you, what kind of impact do you want Kenyan music to have on the rest of the world?
I do blues as a genre of music and pop, and I would like for my music to impact people in the end. I wouldn't just like it to hit after hit, and don't take it wrong, hits are good, but I would like my music to leave a mark in people's lives. And for example, Rico Wainaina done so much for us, and I'm sure even when I am old and dead, his music will still be in people's ears, and there'll still be an earworm all along, because he's made such good music and he's left such a big mark in the Kenyan industry.
Thank you all for your comments. Reading one more tweet for the night.
Brenda Waithera tweets, "Once artists lose their original material, it becomes a milestone in their career. Imagine spending sleepless nights composing music, then someone steals it. It's depressing."
Music is a gateway to the soul, a reach into the unknown, and a healer for the difficult times. This is how we use music to heal ourselves, but how can we capitalize on the importance of music, not just to benefit ourselves, but for the world at large? The African continent has been blessed with undeniable grace and understanding of culture, art and sound. Our forefathers were the original sound of blues and soul right from the motherland. These heritages need to be protected. We are entering a time of extreme global effects where globalization takes away from the identities of growing cultures and their heritage. Western musicians have already clearly generated a medium for protecting their artists against the misuse of their original content. What about here in Kenya? Are artists protected in the same way? Could this be a reason for the lack of support from agencies such as government and corporations that would advance the creative industry to new heights of exploration? Let us continue having this conversation on Twitter using the hashtag #CreativeDominance. Follow us on Twitter at Lizzie_M. Thank you for watching. I have been your host for this live program. Join us next time on Perspectives Worthy of Shaping.